George Lois, you titled your book Damn Good Advice. Why is this smart from an advertising perspective?
What the book is really talking about is I'm talking to the creatives of the world, not only advertising people, I'm talking to anybody in the creative field. I'm talking about how to be able to create great, not only great work, but to do it so that it makes not only sense, but it makes sense for the culture, it makes sense for people making money, so it makes sense that you wind up living a life where you say, I did some great work in my life,
And there's some damn good advice in here. The subtitle is How to Unleash Your Creative Potential. How do you unleash your creative potential?
Well, I've done it all my life because I kind of have done it like a one-man show. I mean, I tell people that they shouldn't depend on other people. They shouldn't depend on group. They shouldn't depend on group. They shouldn't be part of a group and sit there and together you figure things out. I tell people to depend on your own instincts, your own talent, your own chutzpah, and get work done that is innovative, that breaks the ground, that is different from anybody else's.
Well, your work has been groundbreaking for decades. How has social media, how has Facebook and Google changed the advertising game? Because you hear about big companies like P&G cutting back their advertising budgets because they say, look, we can just do this on Google or Facebook.
Well, technology is fantastic. There's no doubt about it. I mean, it's wonderful for a guy like me because it's a tool. I can get things done. I can do 2 months' work in 2 days. But what everybody talks about is Google and this and that and that. Nobody talks about creativity. I mean, young people are all getting into it, and long discussions. There's 5 or 6 people, companies that own all the advertising companies in the world, and all they talk about is the technology and the media, and they don't ever discuss creativity. The name of the game is to get back to creativity, because creativity can solve your problem in any situation, especially on social networking.
Well, people are now watching Mad Men, and they're looking at advertising from the so-called golden age. Tell me, what hasn't changed about advertising from the Mad Men age?
Well, the Mad Men don't represent the greatness of what advertising was back then. The advertising that was great back then was called Creative Revolution. I started an agency called Patrick & Lois, which was the first ad agency that had an art director in this masthead where they even thought about an art director being important. So the Mad Men represent the schlock world of advertising. The period in the 60s was basically called the golden age of advertising because of the triggering of the creative revolution. There was, Patrick & Lois, Wells, Rich Green, Doyle, Dan Burbank, et cetera, et cetera. What's happened in the last 10, 20 years or more is these 5 or 6 conglomerates have bought up all the agencies. Whenever somebody comes along that's creative, they buy them up, and all of a sudden they become a schlock agency and they do bad work. I mean, so what you're looking at today is not a great period of advertising at all. It hasn't been for the last 20, 30 years.
Can anything change that?
Sure. My book, things like my book, I'm giving people not only creative information and learning how to how to do great work. I'm talking to business people who say, hey, you got to use these great creative people to help brand your products, to help sell your products, to help make your products relevant to the consumer.
This market is
stock pickers market.
Stocks have rallied this year.
We're coming into a Monday where we're going to